I know. I just thought it's the festive season, so I'll look a little festive too, though I suspect I've been spending too much time with Dinesh Karthik. Normally, at this time of the year, the editor at Crickbuzz calls me and says, we need to do these teams of the year at the end of the year. But this time he just said, I think we'll do a few more interesting blogs. So I got the message. I've done different ones on Crickbuzz. So I thought I'd pick my Test and ODI teams of the year right here. So here we are. We'll start with the Test match team of the year. I must have a little statement to make before I start, though. This is very often an individual choice. It's based on the kind of cricket you like to see, the kind of players you see, the moments that you see. This is not the definitive team of the year. I don't have the bandwidth or the stature for that. This is just my Test team of the year. And I enjoy going through the numbers and picking these teams. So here we go. We'll start as usual with the openers. And there were a few that stood out. My first opener this year is KL Rahul. 813 runs from 19 innings. He averaged 45. He hit 300s. He just looked so composed. You just looked at him and you said, this is what I want my Test match opening batter to be. So KL Rahul gets the first spot. Now for the second spot, so many contenders. You could look at Ryan Rickleton. He had one big innings, not a lot around that one big innings. Then you had Devon Conway, who filled his boots at the end of the year. But I went with a player who actually didn't open for a major part of the season. But then when he got his opportunity, played two match-winning innings as an opener. And so I've gone with Travis Head. Right and left, but that's purely incidental. Gone with Travis Head. He averaged 42, but I picked him as an impact player. So my openers are KL Rahul and Travis Head. Now 3, 4, 5. I've normally said that I like to pick players who play in a certain position. It's very easy to just pick the 3 or 4 best batsmen and assign a position to them. But you know, it was a strange year this year. At number 4, you had 3 players you just simply could not look beyond. And you had options at number 5 like Harry Brook. But at number 4, how do you look beyond? How do you make a team that picks only one of Shubman Gill, Steve Smith, Joe Root, and then there's still Temba Bavuma in there, but he didn't play enough Test matches. So I've taken a little liberty and I've picked those 3 outstanding number 4s to bat at 3, 4, and 5. At 3, I picked Shubman Gill because he opened for a major part of his career. He's only just settled in at number 4. I think he'll be fine at number 3 behind Rahul and Travis Head. So he's my number 3. I think the preeminent number 4s of our era are Steve Smith and Joe Root. I've gone Joe Root at number 4, Steve Smith at number 5. The numbers for them are astonishing. And I think Shubman Gill is in with a very fair shout for the Test Player of the Year with 983 runs and 5 centuries. Bit hard on Temba Bavuma. You know, he's my favorite player. I've got something very special coming up for Temba Bavuma. So I've got 3, 4, 5. Now at 6 and 7, I've got to have the keeper and the all-rounder. Now my all-rounder has got to be a batting all-rounder because he'll be the 5th bowler. And the wicketkeeper will contribute with the bat as well. So with that in mind, I looked at a spin bowler. You could either look at a spinner as your 5th bowler or you could look at a seam bowler as your 5th bowler. But typically, if you've got 3 seamers, 2 spinners, that just gives you a lot of balance to the side. I've looked at Ravindra Jadeja as my number 6. Look at his batting numbers. 17 innings, 63.7. Didn't have his best year, let's be clear. Didn't have his best year as a bowler, but as a batter, he was. At that number, I don't think there was any competition at all. He took 25 wickets at 38.2. I don't mind those numbers as a 5th bowler who could create damage when it starts to get difficult on the 4th or 5th day. So I've got Jadeja at number 6. Now at number 7 is my wicketkeeper. The wicketkeeper I picked could easily bat at 6. There were 3 standout keepers this year in Test match cricket. There was Rishabh Pant, who's always in with a shout in Test match cricket. There's Jamie Smith, a player that I have a lot of time for and who I think is going to become a serious international cricketer very soon if he isn't already. But How do you look beyond Alex Carey? Who on earth can look beyond Alex Carey? Look at his batting numbers by themselves. 15 innings, 743 runs at 53. But this was the year in which Alex Carey, who comes from a fabulous lineage of wicket keepers, Australia has over the last 60, 70 years always had standout keepers. But this was the year in which Alex Carey said, me, I belong in that league. His keeping, standing up to Scott Boland, keeping to the spinners was fantastic. I just think Alex Carey did everything that was asked of him. And so Alex Carey is my keeper in this side. Now, my other options as batters were Shamto from Bangladesh at number 3. But as I said, you just couldn't look beyond the 3 that I've picked. And a player who's such a natural fit at number 5 in Harry Brook. But when Harry Brook finishes playing the Boxing Day Test and he looks back at what was a really eventful year for him as a batter, he'd say, did I lose my side 2 crucial Test matches with my temperament? And when he gets beyond that, he will be one of the finest number 5s there are. Right, so now I've got to look at 3 fast bowlers and I've got to look at a spinner. The preeminent fast bowler of the year was Mitch Starc. Just ran in when the key bowlers were away. He took all the wickets, he led the attack, and he finished the year with 51 wickets at 17. If 2024 was the year where you just could not look beyond Jasprit Bumrah, 2025 was the year of Mitch Starc. Now you've got to find 2 fast bowlers around him. Jasprit Bumrah, as ever, had a fantastic year, but I'm looking at somebody else. He didn't play a lot, actually, but look at the numbers for Pat Cummins. Just 6 matches, 26 wickets at 16.53. Bumrah had 31 at 22 and could easily come in as the 3rd seaman. Wow, that would be some attack. But I had Pat Cummins as captain and as my others fast bowler. And I don't normally pick captains because this is not a side that goes out to play. But if you wanted to have one, there was Pat Cummins in there. Now for my 3rd fast bowler, I had to go between reason and emotion. I went with my heart. It was easy to pick Jasprit Bumrah as the 3rd seamer in the year, but his was a pick and choose year, primarily determined, well, definitely determined by his back situation. And so I went with someone who bowled and bowled and bowled and bowled. And when the time came, he said, here I am. And for sheer grit, for sheer heart, for sheer emotion, for sheer determination, I've gone Mohammad Siraj as my 3rd fast bowler in this side. That leaves the spinner. I had 2 choices. There was Noman Ali of Pakistan and there's Simon Harmer of South Africa. I went with Simon Harmer eventually because we don't just get to see enough of Pakistan players. I didn't get to see enough of Noman Ali. I don't know what conditions he got those wickets in, but what I saw of Simon Harmer told me that currently it'd be very difficult to look beyond him for a spin bowler slot. So there you are. That's my 11. I think it bats deep enough. I think it's got options for taking wickets. If you want additional spin bowling options, you've got Travis Head there. You've got Joe Root there. Shh, don't hear I said it, but I think if Joe Root put his mind to it, he could be England's best off-break bowler. There's not a lot of competition there, but maybe I didn't say it. The team of the year in many ways was South Africa, wasn't it? And yet I've only found space for Harmer. I'd have loved to find space for Kagiso Rabada with the way he bowled in that World Test Championship final. Love to find space for Aiden Markram with that 100 for the ages in that World Test Championship final. But South Africa played such little Test cricket. And there's a reason there's only one there. So there you are. That's my team. Now, I had 4 awards to give at the end of picking this team. My breakout cricketer of the year is Jacob Duffy of New Zealand across formats. You've been hearing about Jacob Duffy year or two, and he comes in when the bowlers weren't around, and suddenly the bowlers weren't around. And in every format, Jacob Duffy said, I don't care if the bowlers are not around. You cannot look beyond me. So across formats, Jacob Duffy, the breakout player of the year. Sometimes we don't give importance to players outside the major test match teams, but every time you looked at the scorecard this year, there was Blessing Muzarabani of Zimbabwe. So special award this year, special mention this year to Blessing Muzarabani. My Test Player of the Year, there were two contenders. As I said, there was Shubman Gill and there was Mitch Starc. But with ball, 51 wickets, with bat always there, took the responsibility much like Gill did. But I'm going with Mitch Starc as my Test Match Player of the Year. But I've got a Personality of the Year for sheer dignity, class, and maturity with which he led the side. Always had a measured response to difficult situations. As a batter, went in and got difficult runs, won his side a World Test Championship, came to India, won 2 Test matches, one of the toughest gigs going around in world cricket. My cricket personality of the year is Temba Bavuma. There you are. Tell me what you think of these choices. Make your own team and have a festive year ahead.
So thank you for watching and do subscribe to this channel.